I keep thinking every once in a while, I used to, first thing I do, and maybe y'all do this, or used to, I don't take the newspaper anymore because it's not even fit to wrap fish in anymore, what they put in there. But nevertheless, the first thing I used to turn to in the newspaper was the obituaries. Make sure my name weren't in there. I mean, if you admit it, most of the time that's what you did back yonder when you got the newspaper. Was you turned that with the funny papers. And I like the funnies. And now they took the gun away from Yosemite Sam or whatever his name is, and Elmer Fudd. You know, I don't much care about that anymore. But nevertheless, I was thinking, you know, that sometimes what you don't hear, you don't worry about too much. It's what you hear. Yeah, and somehow or the other, that's a hard thing to do, is turn the television on. I don't know whether the devil's got us hooked on that or what it is, but the news is one of the worst things as far as negativism that there is. Unless you turn to preaching, and so I'm not saying there's not some good shows on there. I watch the Discovery Channel. You know, I love that, and the channels that carry the programs that are old-time westerns or something like that I watch. But as far as the rest of that stuff, it's nothing but negativism. And we need to know that, you know, that we can take time out, turn that TV off, and take our Bibles down and read that, because we won't find nothing but positives in that. But I want to bring you a message this morning, and it's an uplifting message, I think. I think it's one that will help us all, you know, in this time that we're living in. And to be honest, I don't know what you think about it, but I don't know if the world will ever be the same again. You know, it's changed. After people don't know what's going on, and you hear one thing, then you hear another, and they redoing things right steady. They'll open something, then they'll close it down, and folks, it's getting serious. It's getting serious. Lee just came back from Moorhead, and he can tell you they couldn't even get in to eat over there. I mean, and now have y'all ever had a dust storm or seen one come from the coast of Africa over here? Have you, Mr. Harvey, in your lifetime? Yeah, I don't remember. I never did. But there's a lot of strange things happening, and we need to be paying attention to them. I just want to preach to you this morning, and not so much preach. You know, preaching is necessary, because we need to remind people sometimes, and really try to really get to them in a special way. Sometimes we have to exert a little more voice than we usually do. But I want to talk to you this morning, ask you a question this morning from the pulpit. I thought about it this weekend as I was sitting behind my desk. And the thing that I thought about, would it be nice if we could make everybody happy? Wouldn't you think so? But it's getting more and more impossible to do that every day. It seems like you can't even hardly go and carry on a conversation with somebody about, and this virus and pandemic and people being distressed and crammed in corners and can't get here and can't get there and can't eat. It gets aggravating. It gets frustrating. And you know, I'd be the first to admit that to the Lord, that, Lord, I do get frustrated. Lord, I do get aggravated. And I know I shouldn't. I know, I should. But it worries me that people can't get together and can't love. And what really sometimes upsets me more than anything else is that the people in nursing homes and hospitals can't even get the people to talk to that's in their own family when they go in there. You know, that's terrible, not to have anybody to talk to. But nevertheless, I was thinking, and the thing that come into my mind was, would it be nice if we could make everybody happy? You know, I would love to see everybody happy. And I can say that in all honesty this morning. I would love it if everybody in the world was happy and loved each other and got along. You know, and one day that will happen. Not in this world, but in the one to come. But I got to thinking on that subject, and I wanted to share that with you this morning, somewhat about my thoughts as I went through that this morning. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could make everybody happy? What a wonderful world this would be. And you know, the next thing that popped into my mind as I was thinking on that, and I'm going to teach about that in just a few minutes, is that Jesus, who loved everybody and still does, can't make everybody happy. He couldn't back then, and he can't now. Preachers preach their heart out, the word goes out, and people still don't get it. They don't understand that Jesus Christ didn't take that cross just to save people from going to hell. He took that cross to extend His love, His compassion, His mercy to everybody, to show them that they could be happy if they would try. If they would follow His word and His commandments, we all could be happy if people would do that. Jesus' love was a love beyond our understanding. We can talk about it and have talked about it through the generations. And we've preached on it. We've talked to each other about it. We've studied the Word. But still, we don't have the deep understanding that Jesus wanted to express before He took that cross. And even as He took that cross, He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The love was still in His heart for those who crucified Him. And it is today. He's waiting so much for more people to understand. And I think these things that we're going through, even the church, are beginning to understand a little deeper into the love of Jesus Christ. I think we're really beginning to understand just how much He did love us and does love us and will love us. You know, you don't miss something till you don't have it anymore. And it's very possible that we could be kept out of church. You know, the government we're in this thing deeper than we think we are in what's going on in the world today. I mean, the devil's even getting Christians who have been in Christianity and in the Bible and in the Word many years. He's even getting them to the point. And you remember Jesus said in the Bible, unless I come soon, even the very elect would be deceived. So Jesus had a love and a compassion beyond all understanding. I was thinking the other day what it would feel like if we could make everyone we met happy. Well, I failed in that. I don't know whether you have or not. And it's not that I haven't tried. But you have some people that don't want you to be their friend. They don't want to hear what you got to say. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you to make them happy. And I don't understand that. You know, I really don't. But that's the way we are in the world today. We have poured our hearts out, many of us, to many whom we wanted to be friends with, to many whom we wanted to see that they could change. And they could have what God had promised. And they could be full of love. But with what's going on and what's being presented to us today, it's where we're going to put the most emphasis on what Jesus said and what He did or what the news is telling us. You know, we're going to have to directly consider whether we're going to listen to all this negative mess or get back and understand how deep God's love goes for us. We are protected. We are sealed by the Holy Spirit of redemption. Sealed. And surely all of us have differences of opinion. All of us don't agree with each other. But that should never, ever stop us from not loving one another. Surely if Jesus could love the sinner, maybe not the sin, and that doesn't say we have to love what that person's doing, but we should love the person. And that person should love us back. I mean, they're a sinner. We're a Christian. And you know, we should forgive them. If they've done something to us, we should love them. And if they don't forgive us, we still should love them. Because it's if we're a Christian and we're born again and we've been baptized and we've been created a new creature in Christ Jesus, then there's something in us that desires to be loved. I think all of us, or most of us, if we're sitting in God's house, we want to be loved. We want to be loved. We want to be appreciated. I do. And I know I don't always do things right. I know I'm not perfect. I know that I'm not like somebody else. And I wasn't made that way. But I was made in the image of the Lord. And so were you. The spiritual part of us, the part of us within ourselves, should yearn to love. And should learn to want to be loved. And it hurts when people turn our backs on us, especially when we're trying to go out of our way to be friendly, to be loving, to be kind. And that's what Jesus Christ did. Brothers and sisters, I get so sad when I try to make friends with others, and some of them act like they don't even want to have nothing to do with me. It's like that I'm wearing skunk oil or something. Have you ever been around somebody like that? They just can't wait to get away from you. And you hadn't even hardly met them. But it's probably because, and we're going to talk about this in a few more minutes, it's probably because those people that don't like you don't want other people to like you either, so they spread the word. You don't want to mess with that person. So you see, it's not always that person, that is holding back. They're holding back because other people told them. If you understand what I'm saying this morning. But they don't want nothing to do with you. And it makes you feel lonely. It makes you feel like you've done something to them or something. It makes you feel guilty, And you've tried your best. You've gone out of your way. And I'll be honest with you, I have called people since I've been in the ministry in different churches, whatever, different places, people sometimes that weren't even church members, just people who were supposed to be friends of mine, I thought, that just couldn't wait to get off the telephone. They would come up with all kinds of excuses about the doorbell ringing, the dogs are barking, or the batteries are going dead in my phone, or I just got to go do something, or this, that, and the other. It made me feel like, well, hey, just tell me you got to go. And but it makes you feel like you're being shoved aside or something. And I was thinking about how Jesus must have felt, as he walked this earth. My Lord, my Savior, that did nothing wrong. He tried to help everybody. He loved everybody. He cared about everybody. And I'm going to tell you about some of those things in just a minute. And as I think about that and think about what he's done in my life and how there ain't no way that I want to make my Lord feel bad. And I want to make other people feel good. And I want to pass that love along. And I think that's what Christians are supposed to do, is pass their love along to others that they can be loved and feel loved too. I don't think anybody can say, now they can, I don't know, that they don't want to be loved or appreciated or cared about. There may be some in the world, and there may be some in some churches that feel that way, but I don't know. I don't feel that way. I don't want to make my Lord feel bad by not, trying to do the best I can to make somebody else happy or to be a friend with them or whatever, and go out of my way to talk to them or this, that, and the other, and because I want to make the Lord feel like I love him just like he loved me. And of course, I could never accomplish the love that the Lord had. But really, think about this morning. It makes you lonely and sad when this happens to us. This often, even when you go all out, and I mean all out to do something for somebody. I mean to carry them a pie or call them on the phone or visit with them or just call them up every once in a while and say, how you doing? I was thinking about you, this, that, and the other. It should make them happy, but sometimes it doesn't. I wish that person would quit bothering me. You ever heard anybody say that? I used to remember when I was young, when I saw a man coming to the door with a Bible in his hand, I went out the kitchen. Because I knew I had to, if I got caught in the house, if I got caught in the house and he came in and Mama was there, I was going to be made to sit there and listen to everything he had to say. And back then, being a teenager, or being a young person, I didn't want to hear what he had to say. And I'm sure that the minister, whoever it was, came in the house would have loved for me to have been in there and listen. That's what he came for, to visit people. But we all know that used to happen, every one of us, if we were children back then. We'd rather be down at the fishing hole or somewhere or the other, or swimming or whatever back then. But this morning, it does make us sad today when we go out of our way, and I mean extremely out of the way, to try to make people happy. It's not that we want to get in their business. It's not that we want to say anything to turn them away from us. It's just that we want them to know that we love them and appreciate them and care about them. And we're not specifically there to ask them just to come to church. We're there just to be friendly, It was always good to get to a family reunion and one thing then another, or get to go to a meeting or something other, and people sitting around talking, and they weren't necessarily talking about Christianity or the Lord, but they were all friendly. They were all sitting there reminiscing, and talking and carrying on and being friendly. They were loving each other, and everybody was laughing and carrying on. That's a good feeling when you're sitting in a bunch of people and they're laughing and they're carrying on and they're acting like they're happy. Don't that make you feel good? I sure wouldn't want to be at a table with a bunch of people that was sitting there. You? They sure wouldn't make you might make you laugh. I don't know. But anyway, let's get on with the message this morning. But they actually go out of their way a lot of times when people don't want to be loved, when they don't want to be talked to. They go out of their way to make it rough on you. Love is hard to spread. Now listen to me this morning. Love is hard to spread when many will not share it. Love needs to be shared. If you love, you want somebody to love you back. And you want them to love somebody else. And that somebody else love them back. But it's hard to share when no one wants to share it. When people are not happy, it has a tendency now to listen to me this morning. I want you to think about the conditions in the world this morning and what's going on around us. The love that's supposed to be in people's hearts this morning has turned to hate. We have people out there this morning who are haters. They're tearing down statues, they're tearing down and marking up everything that is to be marked down or tear down that they can, that has absolutely nothing to do with what they're protesting against. They've got hate in their heart. And it's hard to go love somebody like that and expect them to love you back when they don't want to love you back. Christians are taught to love everyone, and we would love to have them love us back, which does not always happen. One day this will take place in a place called heaven. When God's children come home and rejoin the ones that are home, there's going to be a happy time and a happy place. Everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be fellowshipping. Everybody's not going to be talking about differences of opinion or this, that, and the other, because they're all going to be loving Jesus. So this morning we're going to look at the Scriptures this morning to find that even Jesus did not make everyone he meant happy, and also to know that we have a friend who never forsakes us, and we can get a better feeling because Jesus could not make everybody happy either. Now the Bible tells us in Luke chapter 23, verse 31, he says, "For if they do these things in a green tree," this is talking about him, "if they do it to me, what shall be done to the dry?" That means us. We can try, we can go out of our way, we can do everything that we possibly do, but we can't let it discourage us if someone turns away and doesn't want to return that love. We must give the love back to them. Let's look a little bit this morning. What did Jesus do when he walked the earth? Well, the first thing he done, he loved people. What does it say in John 3:16? "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life." He loved them. No matter what they did to him, and we all know that he did good for everybody that came to him. He helped everybody. He wanted everybody to love him. course, he knew they wouldn't, but he wanted them to. And so what did Jesus do? The first thing he says is he came to love and to get our love. Jesus wants our love. Now, can you believe that? Why would Jesus want our love? What would you think within your mind? Why would Jesus want our love? He wants our love because he wants that communion. He wants that communion with us. He wants that sharing with us. He wants to be loved back. You know, if you really think about it, God didn't have to do what he did, especially for man. He could have made a whole earth full of robots. He didn't. He gave us a chance to accept him and to see his love and love him back as he loved us. And that's what he's looking for today. He loved them. Next, he taught them. He didn't just throw it up in the air and just walk through the earth and expect everybody just to flock to him. He talked to them. He shared with them. Did he not? Surely he did. If someone came up and talked to him, he took time to talk to them. And then he explained things to them. What else did he do? He ate with them. He even went to the sinner's house and ate with them and explained to them God's love. He wanted them to see that God and him wanted their love too. He sent his love. He was there to love, and he wanted love back. And so part of that, as we're made into the image of God, desires that within ourselves. What else did he do? He healed people. Did he not? He went out of his way, compassion, mercy, long-suffering, caring, loving people. If you remember the story about the 10 lepers that he healed and only one came back to thank him, how must he have felt about that? He wanted them all to come back and thank him, but they didn't. And so we, as we follow his path, and that's what we do in this life as we're Christians, and we walk in his footprints and we follow his word, we try to follow what he did. And then it says he fed them. Did he not feed the 4,000 and the 5,000? And many more. He fed them. Took care of them. If you go back in the Old Testament, even God took care of Israel until they complained so much that he had to teach them a lesson. So God desires, it's all about love. God desires our love. We desire other people's love and compassion. And then what else did he do? He walked with them. He went from here to there to wherever he could go to find people that would love him. And what does it say in the Bible? That when he came in for the Passover and the Pharisees told the disciples to tell those people that were praising Jesus to calm down, and Jesus said that they should shut their mouth, even the stones would cry. Desiring to be loved, wanting to be loved, and wanting to give love. He healed people of things that had been bothering them, had been holding them back. He went out of his way. Nowhere does it say that he had to, but he did. When we call on the Lord, does he not come? Does he not do for us? Does he not walk with us when we walk with him? Certainly he does. And another thing, he showed mercy on them. Mercy. When nobody else would have anything to do with them, he was there. And he still is today. He's with us. And he always will be. He's with us. What else did he do? He forgave them. You remember the woman that was caught in adultery? You can read all the stories in the Bible, and it all points to love and compassion and mercy and kindness. Wanting people to see how much he loved them and cared about them. And he wanted them to return that love by following him And that's what it's all about today. He wants people saved. He wants people to come into His kingdom because He loves them so much. He also cried for them, did He not? Does it not say in the book of John that Jesus wept? That Jesus wept? He wanted so much for people to love Him and care about Him and listen to Him. Because if they would and if they did, then they'd have the abundant life. They'd have the life that we enjoy as God's children, and because we know how the Lord's blessed us and how He talks with us and how He shares with us. And we want others to see that and know that. And Jesus wants, He wants to see that happen. He still does. Even though He took the cross, He cried for them. And the Bible says He visited with them. You remember the story in the Bible where He went and sat and ate with Martha and Mary. And where He went and eat with I believe it was Zacchaeus, and also some of the tax collectors and stuff. He ate with them. But there's another thing He did. He warned them. He warned them. Why have Jesus had not sent us His word to warn us and tell us what would happen if we didn't love Him and didn't follow Him and didn't look at Him? And I could go on and on and on about the things that Jesus did, because the Bible tells us that the books, all the books in this world, can't contain the things that Jesus did when He was on this earth. And it tells us that in the book of Revelation. We could go on and on. He did that which no one else could do. Even though we keep trying, we can't get as much done as Jesus did. In the end, what did they do? For all the wonderful things that God did, that Jesus is doing, what did He do? What happened? They end up crucified. So if we don't get a response back that shows other person's love for us, then let's not rebel against them. Let's continue to love them. Let's continue to pray for them. Let's continue to follow in the footprints of Jesus and take the persecution and the crucifixion, which will surely come if you follow Christ. We will, as a church and as individuals, face persecution in this world, and we're facing it right now. And it's going to get worse, I'm going to tell you that, before it's over, unless Jesus comes to carry us home. These riots and all this stuff that's going on. Now, we're blessed to be in small communities where we don't see that much happening. But these people who are in cities are afraid to even go out the door. Are afraid to even let their children outside. And why is that? Because people who should be loving are haters. They're haters. But we need to remember that if we're following in the footprints of Jesus, He said, if they do it to a green tree, how much more shall they do it to a dry one? Speaking about us. In conclusion this morning, and I'm going to conclude my message, I think you understand where I'm coming from. I'm sure you do. But in conclusion this morning, can you imagine, do you even think sometimes how Jesus felt after He had done all He could to make people happy? Do you think He still weeps in heaven? You ever think about that? I believe that Jesus still has the characteristics of the human, in a sense, in caring and loving. I believe He still cries, and I believe He smiles. It never said in the Bible He smiled, but I believe He smiled when somebody comes. It says, for even in heaven, the angels in heaven rejoices when a soul comes to the Lord. So I can't imagine how the Lord's feeling today, maybe a little bit like He did during the flood, or maybe a little bit like He did during the crucifixion when people crucified Him. Maybe He's still weeping. I don't know. But I know this. He did a lot for us, more than we can ever do for someone else, but we can continue to try. And not let it beat us down when people put us down. Because there's only one that we have to satisfy in this world to make the next one. And that's Jesus Christ. So, we can't do anything whether a person wants to receive our love or whether they want to respite and try to, cause us harm. We can't do anything about that. It grieves us, and a lot of times it'll make us cry. Especially if we really love somebody and we thought they were our best friend and they turn on us. Think about that. He did for those who would not love him, and so that one day it would happen when those who did love him and serve him would be allowed into heaven to be with him forevermore. I look for that day. I cherish that day. I don't want to be to the point or get to the point that I don't want Jesus to come and somebody get left behind that would have come. I want to see Jesus get everybody in that's going to come in. And then I want to see him. I want to see him. I'm ready to go. This place here is not my home. It holds nothing for me except my love of my family and the love of God. May we, who now feel sad about those who treat us bad, remember it will not be long until happiness will reign forever. No loneliness anymore. No crying anymore. No pain anymore. In a place where there's nothing but pure love. May God bless you all this morning. Hang in there.